Hello, and thank you for watching our official YouTube channel. We provide daily updates on the latest and most interesting news. Here's what we have for you today. In the attack on Kyiv on the 24th, Russia used the rare KH22 KH32 cruise missiles, which have been used in recent months but are among Moscow's most powerful weapons. Specifically, Ukrainian Air Force Command spokesman Iri Inat stated that Russian TU-22M3 strategic bombers launched 12 KH22, KH32 cruise missiles at Kyiv. According to Mr. Inat, Russia launched these missiles at Kyiv and Kharkiv after redeploying its strategic air force closer to the Ukrainian border. The KH22 is a heavy anti-ship missile with a warhead weighing up to 950 kilograms. Initially designed to attack aircraft carrier groups, the missile can carry various warheads and is considered one of the most dangerous weapons in Russia's missile arsenal. Since the conflict broke out, Russia has used more than 400 KH-22 and KH-32 missiles against Ukraine, of which only 3 were successfully intercepted. However, in yesterday's attack, Ukrainian air defenses shot down 9 of these missiles. According to the Ukrainian Air Force, Russia used 396 airstrike vehicles in the coordinated attack against Ukraine, including 3 M22 recon anti-ship missiles and 12 KH-22 and KH-32 missiles launched from the Barang region of Russia. The Ukrainian Air Force emphasized that a key feature of this attack was the use of strategic bombers carrying KH-22 and KH-32 missiles to strike the Ukrainian capital. According to the Ukrainian military, from 6 p.m. on the 23rd to the morning of the 24th, Russia conducted a large-scale coordinated attack on Ukraine using air-to-ground missiles as well as drone attacks. The worst damage occurred in Ukraine, with buildings destroyed and damaged in 5 districts of the capital. 1 person died, and at least 4 others were injured. The left bank of the city experienced disruptions to heating and water supply, leaving nearly 6,000 buildings without heating. Additionally, on the morning of February 24th, emergency power outages were implemented in several areas of Ukraine due to the complicated state of the energy system following the Russian attacks. In a recent interview with President Vladimir Zelensky said that U.S. President Donald Trump had agreed to supply missiles for his Patriot system, stating, "I spoke with President Trump and received the response that I will not disclose the number of missiles for the Patriot system." The leader noted that on the sidelines of the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, the two sides also discussed global issues and addressed specific tasks. Mr. Zelensky said, "We discussed global issues and also resolved an issue that was in line with the purpose of my trip. Currently, the PAC-3 MSE missile is considered the most powerful version of the Patriot system. This high-speed missile uses precision target acquisition technology, allowing it to intercept a variety of airborne targets such as ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and fighter aircraft. The PAC-3 MSE missile is 5.21 meters long, weighs 312 kilograms, and is equipped with a twin impulse engine. It can intercept incoming missiles at an altitude of 40 kilometers and a speed of Mach 5. In a related development, on May 23, Ukrainian Defense Minister Mykolo Fedor and U.S. House Representative Julie Davis met to discuss key areas of military and security cooperation between Ukraine and the United States. The Ukrainian defense minister thanked the U.S. for its comprehensive support to Ukraine, both militarily and diplomatically. He also emphasized the importance of Ukraine's priority request list initiative in providing the Ukrainian armed forces with much-needed weapons. During the meeting, Fedor also informed the U.S. representatives about ongoing work with partners to expand the PUR program, ensuring the supply of U.S.-made weapons in the meantime. In addition, Mr. Fedor also focused on and analyzed the use of American weapon systems on the battlefield, especially Patriots and HIMARS. According to him, studying combat experience will help improve these systems and increase their effectiveness on the battlefield. The two sides also discussed Ukraine's need for laser-guided artillery shells. This type of ammunition significantly increases accuracy and combat effectiveness. Ukraine expects to receive support from the U.S. in this area. Another priority is the implementation of the agreement on the large-scale drone procurement program. Ukraine is striving to allow U.S. partners to directly test Ukrainian-made drones while minimizing unnecessary administrative procedures. According to Zero Press, the Frey FP-5 Flamingo ground-launched cruise missile was once considered a weapon Ukraine needed to expand its long-range strike operations, penetrating deeper into Russian territory and inflicting greater damage on key targets such as oil refineries. However, the Flamingo's recent performance has raised concerns among observers. This is indeed a Ukrainian-developed weapon, but it's unlikely to be a game changer and is more for promotional purposes. Based on available evidence, Euromaidan has only recorded 4 Flamingo-equipped missile strikes, with a maximum of about 9 missiles damaging 2 targets. Furthermore, 2 months have passed since Ukrainian forces last used Flamingo missiles in actual combat, and there is no evidence to suggest that Kyiv is continuing to use this type of weapon. It is becoming increasingly clear that the FP manufacturer has failed to fulfill its commitment made last year to produce hundreds of Flamingos per month. This could have serious consequences for Ukraine's long-range offensive. Operation MAC hopes to inflict enough economic damage on Russia to pressure Moscow toward a ceasefire or lasting peace. Flamingo was once a great hope for Ukraine when Foy first introduced this new missile last year. Flamingo is advertised as having a 3,000 kilometers inertial range combined with a satellite carrying a 1,000 kilograms warhead. If true, this would place the new missile in an entirely different segment in terms of range and weight compared to Ukraine's existing long-range strike weapons, which include domestically produced and imported cruise missiles, long-range attack UAVs, and even some long-range UAVs capable of dropping bombs and returning to base. Most of Ukraine's long-range assault ammunition has a range of no more than 1,000 kilometers. And even when it does reach that range, it usually carries small warheads weighing only a few hundred kilograms. The smaller warheads cause less damage, making it easier to repair attacked facilities. Flamingo touted the weapon as the best of all, simple and inexpensive. It could cost as little as $500,000 per rocket. Thanks to the use of many readily available commercial components, Flamingo could be mass-produced in a short time. Subsequently, Denmark agreed to finance a rocket fuel production facility on its territory to facilitate the expansion of Flamingo production. The U.S. Office of the Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, also joined Foy's advisory board. However, Flamingo subsequently went almost completely silent, with no evidence suggesting that FP accelerated production and deployment. If Ukrainian forces did indeed sell significant quantities of Flamingo missiles in recent months, these missiles appear to have left no debris behind. A Tokyo observer who closely monitors social media for evidence of Flamingo use confirmed only 4 attacks and none since November. There had previously been skepticism about the Flamingo's actual capabilities. Images of the 7-ton missile showed the warhead to be actually 2 bombs joined together. A series of free-falling bombs was arranged in a line. Evidence suggests they are Fab 500 M62 bombs, one of the most common unguided free-fall bombs of the Soviet era. Furthermore, other parts of the missile are relatively simple, utilizing many components from old weapons. A question arises. Does this missile possess any features that would allow it to evade Russian air defenses? It lacks any outstanding characteristics. Besides its long-range attack capability, the missile's maneuverability to evade air defenses remains unclear. Meanwhile, Russia possesses a range of powerful air defense systems capable of detecting targets from hundreds of kilometers away. According to Bloomberg, on the 23rd, a tanker sanctioned for transporting Russian oil drifted out into the Mediterranean Sea after a technical malfunction. The vessel, an LR2 class tanker named Progress, was traveling along the North African coast near Algeria and was bound for the Suez Canal. After passing through Algeria in the early morning of the 21st, the ship suddenly turned north and left the shipping lane. The vessel was carrying approximately 730,000 barrels of Russian uranium crude oil. By the early morning of the 22nd, the oil tanker had become uncontrollable, and its speed had dropped to 1.2 knots per hour. Tracking data cited by Bloomberg shows that the following day, the ship continued to drift slowly eastward at a speed of 1 knot. The ship's departure from the shipping lane, change in navigation, and reduction in speed suggest a possible technical malfunction. Prior to this, the 19-year-old ship was subject to Western sanctions related to its involvement in the Russian trade in durian. Since being sanctioned, the ship has changed its name twice, most recently switching to the Russian flag and being registered in the Russian Maritime Registry in November 2025. According to open-source maritime transport data, the Progress is registered under the name of Legacy Marai LC, a company based in Russia. Western governments have increased their scrutiny of Russia's secret fleet of old tankers used to evade Western sanctions on Russian oil exports. In recent weeks, countries such as France, Germany, and Italy have taken action against ships linked to sanctioned Russia as they operate or transit through their territorial waters.